From downtown Macon, this is WGXA News live on YouTube.
Good evening, Middle Georgia. I'm Amanda Peralta.
And I'm Greg Lloyd. Thank you for watching WGXA News at 5:30.
All eyes on the Gulf of Mexico this week as Adalia is expected to become a major hurricane.
And meteorologist Ryan Mirando is tracking the storm in the Skywatch Weather Center as it approaches us. Ryan?
Yeah, Greg, we are still tracking the storm right now. Here's Adalia. This is winds of about 70 miles per hour, closely monitoring to become a Category 1 hurricane at 74. But this is going to drift to the northwards over the next few days, likely rapidly intensifying into a major Category 3 hurricane with winds up to 120 miles per hour before making landfall somewhere near the Big Bend region of Florida. And then it moves into southeastern Georgia on really Wednesday. Looks to be the day that will most likely get hit with some of these outer rain bands. So this one particular model early Wednesday morning begins to make landfall, pushes up through south and east. Around 12 o'clock, we could get some outer rain bands, generally south and east of Macon, but it's quickly out of here. So really, it's going to be about the wind on Wednesday. As early as 8 o'clock, those winds already pretty gusty out the door, but really during the afternoon hours, winds gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. And even on Thursday morning, we could get a little bit of some more breezier conditions. But what this means behind the storm for the rest of the work week, I'll show you that coming up in the full Skywatch Weather 10-day forecast.
As our Skywatch weather team just said, Georgia's in the path of this storm, and joining us now is the director of the National Hurricane Center, Dr. Michael Brennan. Dr. Brennan, thank you so much for being with us today. Well,
good afternoon. Great to join you.
Our very first question that our viewers really want to know is how strong will this storm be by the time it gets to Georgia?
Well, we're expecting Adalia to be at or near major hurricane intensity by early Wednesday morning as it makes landfall somewhere here along the west coast of Florida. And then we'll expect it to steadily weaken, but it certainly could be a hurricane well into North Florida or potentially even extreme southern Georgia. And then a strong tropical storm is our forecast here by the time we get into late Wednesday. So we could certainly see tropical storm conditions, especially near and to the right of the path of the center. And in terms of winds, this would be sustained winds of at least 39 miles per hour. And we do have a tropical storm watch up for the southeast, the southern portion of the Georgia coast, south of Altamaha Sound.
Now, Dr. Brennan, if you were here in Georgia, what preparations do you think you would be making right now?
Well, you want to make sure that you have, if you're under a tropical storm watch or warning, you want to make sure you don't have any loose materials lying around in your yard. You want to clean things up. Make sure you don't have anything out there that might blow around or cause a hazard. And then also along the Georgia coast, we're also looking at the potential for storm surge. We have a storm surge watch in effect for the extreme southern portion of the Georgia coast. So folks in that area are going to want to know if they live in a storm surge evacuation zone. This means there's the potential for life-threatening inundation of at least 3 feet or more above ground level from the storm itself. And those tropical storm force winds are most likely to arrive in Georgia, Wednesday morning, during the day on Wednesday, if they were to occur. Highest chances are along the coast, but certainly could occur farther west into central Georgia. We're also concerned about the potential for heavy rainfall, especially along and to the right of the track. So we could see some scattered to numerous flash flooding events, especially in this red area in southeastern Georgia.
Now, we've also heard a lot of talk about hot ocean water this year. Now, is that going to be a factor when it gets to the Gulf of Mexico? What do you think we need to really know when it comes to that?
Sure. Well, warm ocean waters are the fuel for hurricanes to strengthen, and the waters over the eastern Gulf of Mexico are certainly warm enough to support steady, if not rapid, intensification with water temperatures at least of 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's that, and some favorable upper level winds are what going to fuel Adalia's growth and strengthening and perhaps rapid intensification before it reaches Florida or early Wednesday.
Well, Dr. Michael Brennan, the director of National Hurricane Center, we appreciate your time and everything you do for us. We'll be sure to stay safe as this storm heads our way.
Thank you, Amanda and Dr. Brennan. Now's a great time to download that WGXA weather app to keep track of Adalia. As the storm continues to make its way toward Georgia, just scan the QR code on your screen, download it straight to your smartphone. Ryan is back in less than 20 minutes with a look at the storm outlook and your 10-day forecast. A new set of apartments have been approved by Macon's Planning and Zoning Commission, and the approval comes after concerns from the Bibb County School District.
Our Brianna Cook was at the meeting and joins us now with more on their worries. Brianna?
Greg and Amanda, although Bibb County school leaders expressed concern, the complex was easily approved by P&Z. Developers plan on building 290 units across 14 buildings at a newly approved apartment complex on Graham Road in East Macon. Steve Rowland with Rowland Engineering says the apartments will be on several acres of land and near other projects by Rowland Engineering.
Proposed acreage is 27.9 acres. This property is adjacent to two different developments that we're working on.
The development's design extends beyond residential units. A proposed amenity area will be incorporated, a clubhouse, a pool, and multi-use sports courts, enhancing the lifestyle of the residents.
The apartment development that we propose includes 290 proposed units in 14 buildings. The buildings are a mixture of 3-story and some split level. Some of the buildings that are on slope areas will be 2-story on one side.
This includes 3-story structures accommodating 24 units each and split level buildings with unique configuration. A 2-story on one side, a 3-story on the other, housing 20 units each. The tallest of the 3 buildings is anticipated to stand at 40 feet high. WGXA News obtained a letter sent to the Macon-Bibb Planning and Zoning Commission from the Bibb County School District addressing concerns district leaders have regarding the complex's potential impact on local school capacities. According to the Bibb County School District, if built, the complex could lead to the enrollment of approximately 103 students distributed across the various grade levels. This includes an estimated 46 students at the elementary school, 24 at the middle school, and 33 at the high school. The district analyst reveals that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School, Appling Middle School, and Northeast High Schools are the institutions most likely to be affected by the new residential development. But when it came time for Monday's meeting, no one from the district was there. The approval was unanimous.
We asked the Bibb County School District for a comment. At this time, no one has offered. Reporting live in studio, Brianna Cook, WGXA News.
Thank you, Brianna. And the Planning and Zoning Commission was also considering a closer look at the Project Saddle, a proposed packaging site for West Bibb. The commission discussed approving the sale of land off Mercer Junction. According to developers, Project Saddle will be a 7-day-a-week packaging and sorting and distribution center. Also included in the project is a fueling station with a convenience store and a fast food restaurant.
And a heads up for Monroe County drivers, Reedy Creek Road will be closed for weeks as crews repair the bridge over Tobesofkee Creek. Construction began today and will last until at least September 18th. If you live on Reedy Creek, you can still drive onto your homes, just not by crossing the bridge. Detour signs will be up. Those heading north of the creek will use Maynard Road to State Route 42, and traffic going south will use McCowan Road to Montpelier Road onto either State Route 41 or 42. In your local headlines, a stabbing escalates into a house fire and the discovery of a dead body in Monroe County.
First responders say they arrived to the call this morning on Charles Place for a stabbing, but found the home up in flames.
Monroe deputies say the fire deemed to be set intentionally, and after firefighters were able to douse the flames, they found a person dead inside the home.
A female was also sent to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The incident remains under investigation tonight. And tragic news from overnight, a woman and her unborn daughter are dead after a fatal wreck on Thomaston Road. Coroner Leon Jones says the 2-car wreck happened around 8 last night. He says 22-year-old Tashana Dean was pregnant. She and her baby were killed in that collision. Jones says Dean celebrated her birthday on Saturday and was scheduled to be induced to labor on Tuesday. Another person in the second car was injured in that wreck, and an investigation is ongoing into that collision.
And another tragedy after a young man is fatally struck on a Bibb County road. The Bibb Sheriff's Office says 23-year-old Christopher Williams Jr. was hit by at least 4 vehicles while walking along Hawkinsville Road around 6 Sunday morning. Coroner Leon Jones says 3 cars and an 18-wheeler truck struck Williams, and he adds that only 1 car stopped at the scene. Witnesses tell Jones that Williams had run out of gas near Andrea Drive and was walking to a gas station when he was hit. No one else was injured.
Bibb deputies are still searching for who shot 2 people Friday night in Macon. The 2 victims were treated for non-life-threatening injuries after being shot on Walnut Street. There is no information on a possible suspect, but if you know something, please call the Sheriff's Office or Macon Bibb Crime Stoppers.
The GBI says it's investigating a Friday morning shooting that killed a man in Telfair County. Agents say Richard Harris called 911 to report he had been shot at a home on Big Horse Creek Road. Harris died from his injuries, but 2 others were treated for non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. Agents say their early investigation shows Harris beat another man with a bat, who then shot him, and no charges have been filed so far.
Yet another community is in mourning as this past weekend, another tragic shooting in America.
3 people killed and a gunman dead at a Dollar General store in Jacksonville, Florida. As the community gathered to mourn those lost, the Justice Department announced that it will investigate the shooting as a hate crime.
Authorities say the 21-year-old shooter left behind a suicide note on his laptop along with several manifestos where he wrote about his hatred for black people.
The Dollar General is believed to be his second target, and investigators say before the shooting he was spotted at what is known as a historically black university, and a security guard at Edward Waters University engaging with the man and forced him to leave.
President Biden denounced the shooting on Sunday, saying, quote, "White supremacy has no place in America."
Tonight, growing calls by retailers and the law enforcement community to stop letting shoplifters and those involved in organized retail crime off the hook.
Over the weekend, a major store that had become a fixture in San Francisco closed its doors for good, with warnings there could be much more to come, as national correspondent Christine Frizzell reports.
Retailers say it's happening more and more. Pre-planned violent crimes by large groups of people inside stores, in this case, a Macy's in Sherman Oaks, California. But smash and grabs, often organized by so-called flash mobs and then caught on camera, are becoming part of the equation in many cities. City landscapes transformed as stores like San Francisco's Nordstrom flagship have now shuttered. And Dick's Sporting Goods just reported that despite a 3.6% increase in sales, profits have dropped 23%, due in large part, Dick says, to elevated inventory shrink. It's a term used to describe the loss of inventory from shoplifting, damage, or missing merchandise.
Historically, the majority of a retailer's losses come in the form of theft.
The National Retail Federation now warning of the overall impact on society.
The community is going to be impacted when we see jobs lost because of closures, lost tax revenue to the community. That bleeds into the community's ability to provide health and human services and community service to their citizens.
Retailers joining law enforcement experts in calling for tougher penalties for criminals. With many laws rolled back in recent years, previous felony crimes now misdemeanors or crimes not prosecuted at all.
The message should not be, well, we don't want to change the laws and make them stricter because we don't want more black and brown people incarcerated. The message should be, stop committing crime. Stop shoplifting.
The National Retail Federation is supporting new bipartisan legislation meant to crack down on organized retail crime, a phenomenon that's already threatened the safety and security of employees and consumers and has led to a shocking $100 billion in losses. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
And we are tracking Adalia in every step of the way. So in your Skywatch weather headlines, what you need to know tomorrow, it's going to be rather typical of a summertime day, but Adalia will be impacting us on Wednesday. We'll likely get some bands of some heavy rain and some gusty winds. Really, the heaviest rain looks to be south and east of Macon, but everyone has the chance to really get some of this tropical rainfall. So here's Tropical Storm Adalia. Winds currently of 70 miles per hour, likely going to be upgraded to a Category 1 hurricane in the next update, but this is drifting to the north at about 8 miles per hour and will continue to head into the Gulf of Mexico and into the American shoreline. Likely going to be intensifying as a Category 3 hurricane, making landfall early Wednesday morning near the Big Bend region of Florida, and then it pushes up onto southeastern Georgia, likely going to be staying a tropical storm coming down from that hurricane status. But notice that we are still right next to it, so we'll still get hit with some of these bands of showers and high winds. So all's on alert right now in Florida. We have hurricane warnings right now and also some tropical storm warnings, even some storm surge warnings, as that's really the biggest threat with some of these hurricanes at the coast. And now we do have some warnings and watches that are in effect for the entire coastline of southeastern Georgia along I-95. This is a storm surge watch that's in effect where we could have winds along the beaches there, or the ocean potentially up to 3 to 6 feet above actual ground level. So here's one of the models in the hour-by-hour forecast. Wednesday at 6 a.m., making landfall in Florida, and then it pushes up into southeastern Georgia. Mostly through the day on Wednesday, we get these bands of some heavy rain that pushes us on through, but it's out of here relatively quickly by Wednesday night and really Thursday morning. The rain's out of here, but we still could have some lingering wind around on Thursday as well. So this is the actual rainfall totals. Generally about a ½ inch to an inch of rain, but closer you get to the coast, more rain total, up to about 2 to 4 inches for some of those counties down there. So in terms of the winds, on Wednesday morning, we'll notice that there is a breeze that begins to pick up, but really by the afternoon hours, those winds are gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. Wednesday here at 6 o'clock. Even into Thursday morning, it still be a little breezy as that system continues to move to the north and east, but really going to be a big wind maker. Tomorrow, though, not too bad. Pretty seasonable, normal day, up to 92 degrees with some afternoon storms. But Wednesday, that's going to be the big day that we've got going on for this storm. So in your 10-day forecast tomorrow, we're still going to be watching Adalia with what it's going to do, up to 92 degrees. Wednesday's the day to stay weather aware with those bands of storms and those potentially tropical storm force winds, high only up to 80 degrees. So it's going to be much cooler, but it'll be windy and rainy. Thursday and Friday are looking much better. Thursday, only 86 degrees, really not too bad. Friday, partly cloudy, up to 90. The wind should then begin to diminish. But look at this weekend, slipping the door for a beautiful, almost September weekend for us. Labor Day is going to be on Monday, mostly sunny, 94 degrees. Lastly, here's your Harrison's Body Shop Fish and Game forecast. Peaks at 1 a.m. and 7:40 p.m.
All eyes are on Adalia as the storm heads for Florida. It's expected to be a major hurricane, and we're on the ground right now with WGXA's storm chaser, Brett Adair. Brett, this certainly isn't your first storm, but what are you expecting from it?
Well, we're expecting a major hurricane to come into portions of the Big Bend area of Florida. We are in St. Mark's right now, and you can see it's rather quiet out here this afternoon. We were talking to the owner here. We're at the Riverside Cafe here on the docks, and it's very, very quiet. Not many people around, and a hurricane warning is now in effect. So we're expecting this storm to pick up intensity as it continues to move northward into the Gulf of Mexico, and we're going to be watching areas all the way from Apalachicola down to really Tampa Bay for big impacts as this storm makes landfall.
And Brett, as a storm chaser, walk us through your plans for the next couple of days when it comes to Adalia.
So what we've been doing is we've been going around the coastline of the Big Bend. It's not really one of those areas that's easily accessible. There's a lot of trees, a lot of low-lying areas. We've got rivers that flow up. So we're having to watch for those low-lying areas we're just kind of scouting out areas to report, but we're also looking for areas that we can put some remote camera boxes in that may not be so safe when this storm makes landfall, so that at least we can get a visual of what's happening in places like Steinhatchee, Horseshoe Beach, Cedar Key as the storm's ongoing, but it may not be very safe to be there. So we're going to put some of those up, and we're also going to scout out and continue to do that this afternoon. Some of those places to report because we want to report the story and not become it.
Absolutely. We want you to be safe out there. But based on your past experience with storms, what would you tell people, Brett, in the path of Adalia?
Well, the biggest thing is this area hasn't taken a hit from a major hurricane directly in a long, long time. And it's very storm surge prone. That's the reason you're starting to see those mandatory evacuations fly across the area. So heed the hurricane warnings that are now in place. Listen to your local officials. And if you're in a zone where evacuations are necessary, get out now. Don't wait until later. There have already been some fuel issues with some mixing of diesel and unleaded fuels in the area. So the supply here in many areas down near Tampa especially is lower than normal. So make those plans as far in advance as you can and just be ready to let that storm come on up, pass by. It should be out of here relatively quickly. As we go into Thursday, we should be clearing out. So just get out of the way if you can and you're in one of these areas that's prone to problems.
Our storm chaser, Brett Adair, on the ground in the Florida Panhandle in St. Mark's, ready to cover the storm for WGXA News. Stay safe out there, Brett.
Thank you.
Switching over to sports now, the Mercer Bears taking home a win in the first collegiate football game in the 2023 season.
The Bears were featured on ESPN Saturday when they took on the North Alabama Lions in Montgomery. The Bears made the Crampton Bowl their own as they beat the Lions 17-7 in the FCS Kickoff Classic. Head coach Drew Cronick says despite the win, the Bears will continue to keep the momentum going.
No matter what, we're going to improve in this game because you have to, and that'll help us going into the rest of the season. So when you play it, yeah, maybe it is better earlier in the season, but still the bottom line is we're going to go be the best we can be, put our best foot forward, get our guys out there and go compete our tails off. By then,
the Bears will be in Mississippi this Saturday to take on Ole Miss in Oxford.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here again today at the Humane Society of Houston County. I'm joined again by Dee, and we got a special girl we're going to tell you about right now.
This is Onion. Onion came in, and you'll see Killer in just a little bit. That's her buddy. They don't have to be adopted together, but they would prefer if we can do that.
Yeah.
She's a little bit middle-aged, and as you can tell, we're working on the diet situation with her.
Yeah.
Very sweet, housebroken. She likes other dogs. Unfortunately, her buddy only likes her.
All right, so we're talking about Onion right now. This is Onion, and Dee, if someone would like to adopt Onion and her buddy, how would they go about, or even just Onion? I mean, how would they go about doing that?
They would go to our website and fill out our application on the Humane Society of Houston County. Please allow 7 to 10 days to process your application.
All right, let's go ahead and take care of that today. Let's find Onion a really, really good home. Thank you so much, Dee.
Thank you.
Well, she may be cute, but you don't want her stopping you at the airport. Meet Dina. She's a 3-year-old German Shepherd, a German short-haired pointer, who is a passenger screening canine at Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. Dina is the winner of the Transportation Security Administration's 2023 Cutest Canine Contest. And last week, the TSA held a social media contest where the public had the opportunity to vote for the agency's cutest canine from 4 agency finalists. TSA handlers from across the country initially nominated the good boys and girls, and then TSA employees voted and narrowed the field of 92 contenders down to 4. As the winner, Dina will be featured on the first cover of the TSA's 2024 Canine Calendar, which will be released later this year.
Calendar?
I love this, how she sits. I mean, how cute.
I know, she's got the little cross. She's like, darling, I'm gonna sniff if you have any guns.
No, I think they're sniffing for drugs.
Also drugs, darling.
But isn't it amazing that they can sniff for drugs, for guns? Dogs
Crazy.
are just...
I traveled through the Atlanta airport not too long ago, and when I got there, the line was insane.
TSA pre-check saves lives.
Yeah, I need to get on that. Their canine handler there was so cute too.
Aww.
It looked like some sort of German Shepherd.
Now the
or something.
canine handler or the canine?
Oh!
That's how you be a good journalist, folks. Woohoo! Amanda, we got stuff to talk about, baby, when this goes off.
I literally meant the dog. Okay.
Oh!
Oh,
Like and subscribe, everybody. Good night.